Let's go. Huh? Arkansas fans, I can't freaking believe it. You outdid yourself this weekend. And Donald W. Reynolds and you, yes, whoever you are watching this right now, come a little closer, baby. You're not getting enough credit. You're not getting enough credit for what went down this past weekend in Fayetteville versus Tennessee. I want to start off with a question. It doesn't matter if you're watching this live. It doesn't matter if you're watching this down the road. I guarantee it. We'll talk a lot about Malachi Singleton and Taylen Green here in just a moment. But what is the hardest position in football to play in front of a raucous crowd? What is the hardest position? In other words, what position becomes infinitely harder to play on the road than at home? I want you to really think about that, and we'll get back to that in just a second. And I'm going to tell you why you deserve credit. But first, Malachi Singleton or Taylen Green? I'm a little shocked that this question has been brought up when Taylen Green played as good a game as he could have played. Now, there were some things that went in his favor. Tennessee likes to run a lot of middle of the field closed coverages. So a lot of cover 1, cover 3, and they like to show that pre-snap. So, that makes the reads a little bit easier for the QB. And man, Taylen Green throws a beautiful go ball. And he threw some absolute dimes this past weekend. So if Taylen Green is healthy, and we do not know if he's healthy, he needs to be the guy. We need to go on ahead and nip this in the bud. Did Malachi Singleton come in and save the day? You better believe he did. But I want you to answer how he saved the day. Well, the first play was Bobby Petrino's best call of the night, the screen to Isaiah Satania. And then Tennessee gave Arkansas a really good run look, and Braylon Russell bounced that thing, and actually didn't even bounce it. He just found a wide open hole and ran through it. And then, of course, Tennessee let Malachi Singleton score, which they should have done, only up by 1. And they did end up almost winning the game. So that decision was the correct one. And Malachi Singleton made the correct decision to go on ahead and run the football into the end zone, right? You don't want a redshirt freshman having to think too much in that situation, all right? So at this point, Taylen Green was amazing. When I tell you the tape was really good, it was. And a lot of you come here for film opinions. Did he make some Taylen Green type of mistakes early? Yes. Obviously, that should have been a touchdown on the field goal for Arkansas to start the game. But all that aside, I am a more positive than negative person. I like to celebrate players more than tear them down. Now, part of why you will hear me be critical is because I feel like the media lacks bite at times. I feel like people are afraid to speak the truth, and I just share what I share on tape. Now, there is a lot of film things that I want to get into that we've already discussed in the actual film reviews of the game, but I want to publicly show some love to Travis Williams as well for doing something pretty bold at the end of the game. He took Landon Jackson off of Lance Hurd on the final play of the game. I would have never done that. But he trusted Quincy Rhodes, who's really not done a whole lot outside of some good moments in practice. And Quincy Rhodes put down a Dwight Freeney spin move of the century versus a guy I interviewed before, Lance Hurd of Tennessee. And Quincy Rhodes honestly saved the game because there was a tiny glimpse of Nico and a seam ball on that final play. And it wasn't really a seam ball, kind of a skinny post, if you will. And Quincy Rhodes stepped up. And I'm not going to lie. All right? I am not going to lie. I do have one small bias. towards Arkansas players. It's players that are actually from the state of Arkansas stepping up for the Razorbacks. Because one small thing that no one ever wants to bring up about Arkansas football is Arkansas high school football sucks at producing D1 Power 5 players. They just do. It's not Arkansas's fault. It's all genetics. If we want to talk about per capita basketball players, Arkansas is definitely up there. But football players, there's just not a whole lot of good ones that come out of the state of Arkansas. I always pull for the Arkansas players that play for the school. It matters more to them. They have to go home to their local high schools and look at everyone in the eyes and actually see Razorback fans in their halls when they go home. I like it when the hometown kids make plays. All right. So I am really pumped up to see that. Okay. I'm really pumped up to see it. Quincy Rhodes, congrats to you, young man, for going out there and making the game-winning play. Okay. Landon Jackson, who's kind of an Arkansas native, Texarkana. I know he played on the Texas side of things, but still, I like seeing actual Arkansans step up, and he did, and he's not getting enough credit for that final spin move there at the end. But Travis Williams making the bold decision, trusting him with the one-on-one matchup there. Okay. I also see this from the chat. Mr. Bloodline was first in. Carter, is T. Will the DC of the year? It's going to be really hard for him to stay on staff. It just is. That's the kind of guy you want to be your head coach. Affable, good-looking, young, energetic, great press conferences, great swagger. I mean, and the guy, honestly, is just out-schemed who many people consider to be the best coach in the SEC right now, and Josh Heupel. So, look, I have to give Travis Williams a lot of credit. I also want to publicly apologize to Sam Pittman. I went on a national show and said Sam Pittman was going to get outcoached by Josh Heupel. No, it was the other way around. Tennessee got outplayed. Arkansas outplayed and outcoached them, survived a borderline dirty play to their starting quarterback, and the Razorbacks were the better team. And on top of that, going down 14-3, and then with a backup quarter, I mean, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. And Arkansas won this game with their best player on the entire team only going for 57 yards in Jaquindon Jackson, who I think overall played a pretty solid game. So let's be honest. This is a great time to be an Arkansas Razorback fan. Now, I showed all love to the actual players and the coaches, but I want to celebrate each and every one of you. So a lot of you have the answer. Which position is the hardest to play in a road environment? The answer is offensive tackle. Offensive tackle is hard as hell to play on the road. Now, quarterback is the hardest position to play, period. And then after that, I could argue corner. And then after that, I could argue tight. I mean, there's so many different positions that we could argue is the hardest position overall. Y'all, offensive tackle is hellacious to play on the road. Hellacious. Because you can't hear a damn thing. You can't. And obviously, with pass sets being the way that they are now, it's really hard to look in at the ball. It's really hard to feel things out. That's why you get a lot of false start penalties. And Tennessee's offensive tackle play last year was abysmal. And all the Vols that watched me, obviously Arkansas and Tennessee have equal amount of viewership on this channel, along with Oklahoma. Vol fans will tell you the offensive tackle play was pitiful last year. So what do? They go get Lance Hurd, 5-star left tackle. LSU backup left tackle. The only reason he's not a starter at LSU right now is because LSU has 2 first-round picks at offensive tackle. And he comes over to Tennessee. He misses a couple of games, and he wasn't in game shape and got his ass kicked. And Lance, I've interviewed him before, have his number, all that stuff. If he was sitting right here, I would tell him straight to his face, you got your ass kicked. And he would probably say, yeah, I played a bad game. But it wasn't just Lance Hurd. John Campbell, number 74, was hellaciously bad. And I'm not just talking about grabbing bad. They couldn't really get in a groove. Donald W. Reynolds is an underrated place. It's a beautiful place for a college football game. Now, why isn't it up there with Tiger Stadium and the Swamp and all these places? Well, you just don't win enough for it to be considered one of the, like, an Happy Valley level stadium or whatever. But the truth is, I've been to many games at Donald W. Reynolds. It is an underrated venue. Bud Walton, though, and Baum are elite venues. And I don't think anyone would disagree that they're both top 10 venues in basketball and in baseball. But when Donald W. is cooking, it's cooking. And it was loud. You could see that the volume had everyone rattled. And Nico was rattled. Crowd noise played a difference. Offensive tackles, Campbell and Hurd, are not as bad as they showed. And they were both ass. Ass. It's because of the crowd noise. I've watched a lot of their snaps. They are not that bad. What changed? Well, does Arkansas have good defensive ends? Yeah. Lance Hurd, Landon Jackson's had some big games. You know, he beat up a 5-star offensive tackle and on the road versus Alabama last year. I mean, he's had other big games. But y'all know Landon Jackson has not had a game like that in his entire career. He's had really good. I mean, the Alabama game was as good as this one, let's be fair. But Quincy Rhodes is a very good player. Lance Hurd made him look like Dwight Freeney on the final play. Why? Crowd noise. Offensive tackle is so crappy to play on the road. It's hard as is. You deserve, every single one of you that went to that game. My best buddy Larkin flew in from D.C. to go to that game. I couldn't go. But I will be in town for the LSU game. Now, I want to include something. I will be doing some kind of get-together on the Friday night before the LSU game. You guys let me know where the best place would be to hang out. I would love to meet each and every one of you. I will be doing something. I don't know where the best place will be. I've been kind of busy to schedule something. But my wife will be with me, birthday weekend for her. I kind of want to turn up somewhere, drink some brews with you guys Friday night. So I know Hog John, I'll be hanging out with him some, but you guys let me know. Now, I'll tell you this. I will be repping my colors. Okay? So if y'all want to get in a fight, I've always wanted to get in a college fight. I'll be running from the cops like what's the name of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback who won the Heisman in Oklahoma and who can dance? I'm kidding. I actually do like Baker. I'll run from him. I want to get wasted. I want to be at Z. I want to be at Uno. I don't even remember the names of these bars. Okay. Now, we're going to get to all your comments. Is T. Will the defensive coordinator of the year? Honestly, before this game, I was going to give it to Tim Banks, Tennessee's DC, but he did not have a great game. He did not. Let's go to Nema. Arkansas has no black people unless you're in South or Central Arkansas. I didn't think we'd get into what is it? Socioeconomic factors, demographic factors. I disagree with that. Obviously, there are some areas that don't have us. But, you know, one of my closest childhood friends, and I know he likes to stay low key, but he's out there, is Pinto. Pinto's one of my lifelong friends. I don't share that all the time on here, but he and I are still friends to this day. But yeah, you know, I've got a lot of Anglo-Saxon friends in Northwest Arkansas, but you have a lot of black friends throughout the state. But yeah, Little Rock, of course, is more diverse, and same thing is true for South Arkansas. South Arkansas, quite a few South Arkansas cities have 50-50 demographics. But I have no idea what that had to do with any of our conversation. But I do, I do love Northwest Arkansas. I do. Let's go to WPS ATX 50. Let Malachi get first team reps. Why play Green? His knee got hyperextended. Why play Green? Because you're about to play LSU. I mean, I will tell you this. Tennessee's defense is still really good. I'm still high on them. You just came out and out-executed them. Now, they did hold you to 3 points until, Bobby really got cooking. But the truth is, the guy that deserves a Broyles Award, and there might be some background politics that goes into this, because a lot of voters wouldn't want to do this, but I think the Broyles Award should go to Bobby Petrino, if we're being fair. I think voters are able to include context into these conversations. The only coach I could, and even then, if I really start to break this down, Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator at Alabama, deserves a lot of credit. Deserves a lot. I was very skeptical of him, and he's done really well. But, Jalen Milroe has a lot of experience in the SEC. Alabama's offense has been amazing. They were amazing this past weekend. There was a lucky pick six that helped Vanderbilt really, stretch out there. But Alabama's offense was pretty daggum good. So I would probably give the lean to Sheridan because he is a little bit more green. But, man, I think if we were to give out an SEC Broyles Award, I think Bobby Petrino would probably have to be it. Now, once again, am I more focused on Arkansas, Tennessee, Oklahoma, A&M now? I love Connor Wigman. I really do. But, yeah, I think I'd have to go with Petrino or Sheridan at this point. Green isn't the guy. Okay. Let's take a look at the poll question. And I want to make sure I get to everybody's questions here. Run It, that game was absolute cinema. I hate that I didn't get to go. I missed it for a really good reason, though. I did. But yeah, my boy from DC is like my best friend. So I wasn't able to do it. But when you get older, things happen. So I feel like most of you, 90% of you, are saying Taylen Green should remain the starter. Okay. Let's go to Box. By the way, Box, go to Power Hour NFL. I am doing a lot of Cowboys content over there. Drop one Cowboys video. I have another dropped probably right before Monday Night Football. Okay. So we have a wide receiver that's top 30 in yards and catches in America, and he's the only one that doesn't have a TD. But we still say Mr. 30-yard line to 30-yard line is the key. Green can't get you in the end zone. All right. Let's talk about red zone execution. How's Arkansas been in the red zone? Well, versus Oklahoma State, they're pretty good, huh? Then obviously A&M was a mixed bag. But yeah, this is what I'd say about Taylen Green in this game this past weekend. Was it really good? Yes. Would you like to see more of that? Yes. Were there some other Taylen-ish kind of plays? Yes. But as an Arkansas fan, what do you want out of the quarterback position? At this point, let's take a look at the quarterbacks that are actually successful right now. All right. Now, Neiman, don't do this. Don't turn this into a Dak Prescott discussion. No, let's not get into a Dak discussion. Because I get on people all the time about this. Even made a comment about this on my personal Facebook today. The people that tell you that Dak Prescott sucks at quarterback are the ones that don't know ball. That is the dividing line between people who know ball and people who don't know ball. All right, did Dak have a lot of turnovers yesterday? Sure. But he's being asked to do a lot of shit. And on top of that, I don't want to turn this into a discussion. If there's anybody who would have respect for Dak Prescott, it'd be Arkansas fans where Dak threw for 5 tutties in a shootout of the ages versus Brandon Allen. But that's not here nor there. Okay? But we turn the page. Let's have a discussion about Taylen Green. Well, first, let's take a look at the SEC. Who are the quarterbacks this year in the SEC that have been successful? Who are the quarterbacks that have lived up to preseason expectation? This is from my buddy at Saturday Down South, a guy that I like a lot, Chris Marler. And these are the quarterbacks that he had listed, and we'll go one by one of the ones who have lived up to expectation. Quinn Ewers, he's been hurt, but he's so far been really good. Carson Beck has been up and down, but he's still been pretty good. Jackson Dart really looked good this past weekend. Jalen Milroe, yes. Brady Cook, yes. But where things get interesting is when you see some of these younger quarterbacks. Has Nico lived up to expectation this year? Kind of, but he's not been great. Jackson Arnold has been a disaster, an absolute positive disaster of a quarterback. Let's look throughout college football. Who are the quarterbacks that are really successful in college football right now? It's the old guys. Who are the successful ones in the NFL right now? It's the guys that are older, respective to their peers. Sure, there are some guys who unicorn their way into the league and they're elite. CJ Stroud is an outlier. Most of the quarterbacks that are good in the NFL right now are old guys. Most of the quarterbacks that are good in college football right now are older. MALACHI Singleton is only, in year 2 of his development with hardly any experience, where Taylen Green is in, year 4 of his development, 2021 recruit? And you're telling me that quarterbacks over the past couple of years have taken stratospheric leaps out of nowhere? And the ones that have taken these stratospheric leaps from year 4 to year 5 are guys that also played a ton of snaps previous to their stratospheric leap. Really look at the ones who have broken out of nowhere. Michael Penix, stratospheric leap. Was he really that good beforehand? No. A lot of you know Bo Nix. Okay. Was he really that good beforehand? No. So you're telling me that there is a range of outcomes where Taylen Green takes that leap? Do I think it's going to happen based on what my tape study tells me? Is no. It's just too much down-to-down, inaccurate chaos. But it is in the range of outcomes. And you're telling me the range of outcomes of a stratospheric leap from a quarterback like Taylen Green also comes in the shape of a freak athlete, an absolute freak, a gritty guy who was willing to fight through injury and play when he was not healthy and ready to go. You're telling me that's in the range of outcomes here with Taylen Green? Now, what's MALACHI Singleton's range of outcomes? Well, we don't know yet. He's only a year 2 guy. He's got a lot of football ahead of him. But you don't bake in his growing pains at this point. Now, If he had to start versus LSU, does a bye week increase your confidence? Sure, it does. So some guys develop into something. Jeremiah says, hey, 70% pass completion percentage versus a great defense and racked up 400 yards. All right. WPS ATX says, Marcel Reed showed a young quarterback can pop in and win. He's a true freshman. Not a true freshman. He's a redshirt freshman. Nevertheless, okay, let's talk about Marcel Reed. Is MALACHI Singleton the same type of quarterback as Marcel Reed? No. Marcel Reed can actually run. Can Singleton run? Yes, but not like Reed. The second thing is, if Marcel Reed was so good, why did they bench him for Connor Wigman? And Connor Wigman steps in versus a ranked team and, well, gives A&M their best performance of the season. The third thing is, what do the numbers actually say about Marcel Reed's performances with Texas A&M? Well, versus Arkansas, it really wasn't that good. It was a run game and a lot of good field position, and Arkansas errors that led to A&M winning that game more than A&M winning that game. They struggled versus Bowling Green. And once again, as a year two guy, Marcel Reed is good and definitely someone that I would be interested in being the quarterback at my school. But it's different. It's different. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. I'd much rather play Singleton. That's not even close. Not even close. Because look, take a look at what LSU schedule looks like. It's not just the fact that I have to play Taylen Green. The next week I got to play Connor Wigman. LSU's got back-to-back road games coming up. I'd much rather play against Singleton. I'm not saying I know all about Singleton. I'm just telling you, I don't think he runs as well as Marcel Reed. That's not what his high school tape showed. Now, can he run some? Yeah, I mean, he's not a statue. I'm not saying he's not good. But yeah, Leslie, we really won't know until the next public setting. Now, we welcome in a bunch of new viewers. 72 of you in here. We're growing this Monday at 5 p.m. Central show. If you're a business that wants me to come to your place that Friday night, I'm open. I'm open to it. Let's go to Mr. Bloodline. Arch Manning came out hot, though. You're right. Well, what else do we know about Arch Manning? Well, he was a consensus number one quarterback by every recruiting service, which I think is still dumb, by the way. But he was a can't-miss five-star with the best quarterback mentorship a quarterback could potentially ever have in the history of quarterbacking. And Arch Manning has as good of a supporting cast as any in college football right now. Yeah, their running back room is extremely banged up, but Texas has really good tight ends. They got really good receivers. Their offensive line is arguably the best in the SEC. And on top of that, he's played a soft schedule up to this point. I'm not ready to make any blanket statements about him just based on ULM and Mississippi State. But I don't think it's necessarily anything revolutionary that like the can't-miss five-star quarterback is good in year two, right? So let me ask you, Mr. Bloodline, do you think MALACHI Singleton is an Arch Manning level prospect? If you do, then you should want him to play. Let's go to Brian. He's been one of my friends for a long time. We used to run together. What about some Diego Pavia love? I love it. Okay. Well, this is a good question. Where would I put Taylen Green on the list of SEC quarterbacks that have met and exceeded expectations? Ooh. Let me answer this first. How do we know what Singleton could do if no one wants to give him a chance? Every other school does. It took MALACHI to play to keep us from tasting that dreaded drowning defeat at home again. Yeah, because it was a Taylen Green injury. I mean, Taylen Green was lighting Tennessee up with some dimes in the second. I mean, some of those throws are breathtakingly good. I mean, and once again, did Singleton lead a very impressive drive? Yeah, but a lot of that was by play design. Okay. But there's nothing wrong with you thinking that Malachi Singleton deserves to be the guy. Okay. But I repeat over and over and over again. Taylen Green is the best option for this team in my estimation. Now, where would I put Taylen Green on the list of SEC quarterbacks that have exceeded expectations? All right, so we'll put this list. This doesn't have every SEC quarterback name on here. Really, Quinn Ewers hasn't met expectations because he's been hurt. I was very skeptical of Brady Cook going into the season, and he's not lived up to expectations. A rough game versus A&M. Obviously, Milrose exceeded expectations. Dart has somewhat met expectations. Carson Beck under expectation, but his expectation was to win the freaking Heisman, which is still in the cards for him. Nico definitely under expectations, but it's been kind of a weird season with some of Tennessee's matchups. Garrett Nussmeier, out of any on this list, has exceeded expectation. Wigman coming off his best game. Graham Mertz, of course, has had some injury issues himself. The one quarterback who's really exceeded expectations, though, is Pavia, right, of Vanderbilt. I don't care how the other games went. This guy beat freaking Alabama. So wait, I'm giving you my honest opinion, and you think I am telling Arkansas to start Taylen Green because of my allegiances to LSU? No, Brian, this was a preseason list. I only put it up because you asked for expectations. It's a good question. How did Brady Cook regress when Mizzou brought back everyone on offense? Let me say, Kirby Moore's been a better OC than I thought. Obviously, he was arguably one of the best, if not the best OC in the SEC last year. But really, Missouri's defense lost a lot. And Brady Cook just wasn't as good as what many people thought last year. I think people underrated Cody Schrader. Nate Pete also left, but the running back that they have now has been good. He has, I think, like 350 yards rushing up to this point. So he's been good, but playing that weak schedule really did not help them. I mean, they played absolutely nobody. Okay. Nuck, I've been wondering where you were. Now, I will tell you, we won't be able to go as long today because I have other shows I have to do. All right. So if it is in your heart's desire and you want your question answered, whoever super chats first, I will go straight to your question. Okay. Hell yeah, work done. Made it into the College Football Hall of Fame. Love me some work done, man. Yo, I don't know what college football is going to do to fix itself. I hate seeing players quit the team because they don't like their role. Once again, the one way to fix that, you can only redshirt the 4-game route if you're a freshman or a sophomore. Or he can only redshirt as a freshman and a sophomore. No, if he's not fully healthy, then start Singleton. Like, obviously, I'm excluding the health part of it because we don't know his health status and we're 2 weeks away. Okay. What does Green bring to the table outside of his older age? Well, did you not see the verticality that he brought in the Auburn and A&M games? Like, he's not a bum. Like, he's not just ass. Like, when I break down throws and stuff that he misses because, his processing isn't the best and he's not willing to take that leap and throw on time, I am just picking that apart. Like, I'm not telling you that he's just ass, right? I just choose to deal with the more proven thing at this point. Okay. That's not really a shot at Malachi Singleton. I just prefer to play with the more proven thing. And something else with Malachi Singleton is he will not be able to bail you out of bad plays like Taylen Green is able to. Okay. What a dual threat quarterback brings you in terms of his elite running, like an elite runner as a dual threat quarterback, which Taylen Green is. I do not think Singleton is an elite runner. Okay. I think he's a good runner, serviceable runner, as evidenced in the Tennessee game. But what elite runners do at quarterback is it widens the floor. It gives you more wiggle room. Okay. And something else is we underrate what that does for the running backs themselves, right? So when you have an elite dual threat quarterback out there, as a defensive lineman, there's more crap I have to worry about. Okay. Word is minor MCL sprain tear. The fact that he was walking the field post game with the lady on his back is promising. Some are speculating 2 to 6 weeks, like Nima. Let's go to Kevin. Oh, Kevin, dude. Kevin, I know this is your first time commenting. I have never agreed with any one of y'all's comments more than Kevin. I hate this. I hate it so much. Ole Miss obviously is the worst culprits of this. The only way that there's a few ways you can actually get around this if you're the SEC. Okay. The first thing is if you get hurt, you're out for the rest of the series. That player is out for the rest of the series. He cannot go back in unless you want to burn a timeout. I feel like that is a just punishment. If you get hurt and you're on the field, you must not be allowed back into the game. You got to sit out the rest of the drive. Second thing I would do, I didn't know that did the birthday thing. The second thing I would do is, as far as like injured players are concerned, is you are allowed one injury timeout per half. So when a player goes down, that goes against your 4 timeout total. All right, keep timeouts at 3. But you get a real injury timeout. That's the only way you're able to stop the clock. Okay. But then for the rest, and the offensive team can determine when the injury timeout is done, you can keep the clock running or not running, if that makes sense. But then after that, if a player goes down, it goes against your timeouts. it goes against your timeout total. And that could be huge. Now, I'm open to adding an extra injury timeout. Honestly, don't know how many injuries per half actually happen. I would guess it's probably one injury per half that aren't like actual fake injuries. But there's a lot of different ways you could fix it. So today, Brian Kelly was asked about it because he's going up against the king of this, which is Lane Kiffin. And and look, I'm always going to have a lot of respect for Lane as a play caller. I don't know how anybody who justly loves college football can legitimately be a fan of Lane Kiffin with all these fake injuries. And let me tell you what, a lot of you are not soccer fans. I am. It is something that pisses me off about the beautiful game that I love, which is the real football, right? Soccer, worldwide, whatever. Pisses me off the fake injury stuff, the flopping, the diving. It really hurts. It really hurts the product. Okay. Yeah, we're not talking enough about Braylon Russell today. He's been really good. Okay. Yeah, LSU has not been the best at stopping the run. Rocket Sanders went off versus LSU. Now, Rocket Sanders, of course, is good, but it is what it is. So, so someone just tweeted something out. Dale Benson, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So someone, I am related to an actual famous person, and someone just tweeted it out randomly. And she's not like A-list famous, but randomly people kind of figure this out and they like tag me and like tweets with her in it. That's always like interesting. It's like, really, you're related to this person? It's strange. But there you go. That'll just about do it for me. Okay. At Carter the Power is where you can find me. I will be live again tomorrow night, Tuesday, at 5 p.m. Central. Yes. Power Hour. SEC. Boom. Live tomorrow, Tennessee show, Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Central. Godney, dude. How did you know I was related to the Tomb Raider herself? And tonight we are doing... Oh, my mom brought back some velvet taco. My parents went to go see Usher this past weekend in Dallas. And velvet taco is like one of my favorite places on the planet. Okay. Arkansas fans will be live again next Monday at 5. But Arkansas fans, I'm telling you, join our Tennessee show tomorrow. You get your full opportunity to troll all you want. Let's go. Let's go.